I am the sword in the darkness. I am the watcher on the walls. I am the shield that guards from the realm of men. I pledge my life and honor to the Night's Watch for this night and all the nights to come.
This right here is the epitome of the Oath of the Crown. Hey fellow Game Masters, I'm Richard Quiner and welcome back to the RPG Daily, your daily dose of all things tabletop role-playing games, helping you build your world and master your game. If you haven't seen lately, I post here on YouTube every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday now, and over on Instagram, fills in the dailies with Monday, Wednesday, and Friday posts. Also, join the Discord server so you can see and chat and hang out with everybody in the community. Now, let's talk about the Oath of the Crown. This is an interesting oath where the Paladins, it's really kind of the opposite of Oath of the Ancients. With Oath of the Ancients, we were looking at Paladins that kind of had their allegiance towards nature and like the beautiful things in the world. The Oath of the Crown is the exact opposite, where they have sworn their oath to society and civilization and helping and protecting the world of man. Man meaning humanoids, sentient races who live in towns and cities and villages. That kind of man. Paladins who follow the Oath of the Crown are dedicated to serving the laws and rules of their country or place wherever they live, and they're often considered the Night's Watch. They're watchers on the wall. They keep the bad, scary monsters out of the town so the citizens can sleep comfortably. Oftentimes, the oath itself is connected to a larger organization, such as a knighthood or some sort of order that the oath is a part of joining that order. We'll touch more on that kind of near the end of the video. I have some thoughts on that in terms of role-playing. But let's talk about the tenets of the Oath of the Crown. We all know that tenets are the basic beliefs that every paladin who follows a certain oath also believes in, and the Oath of the Crown has several that are really cool as well. The Oath of the Crown tenets are pretty basic. Law, which means law is what keeps the civilization moving forward and progressing and should be upheld and followed. And loyalty, which is you keep your word. What good is the oath if you are not loyal to following it? Courage. Even when you are facing overwhelming odds, you need to do what needs to be done to help the order or protect the civilization. And last is responsibilities, where you fulfill your duty to the best of your abilities, and if you cannot for any reason, you need to really face the consequences for your actions. Continuing with the Oath of the Crown, at level 3 you're going to get your Oath spells. Oath spells are spells that every Paladin of the Oath has. They are always prepared and do not count against the number of prepared spells you can have, and no matter which list they came off originally, they count as Paladin spells. In this rundown, of course, I don't go into depth about all the spells on the list, but it's just a brief overview touching on one for each level. At level 3, you're getting Compelled Duel and Command. Compelled Duel is an interesting one that causes you to basically taunt an enemy into attacking you instead of your allies. It's basically a tanking spell. When you use this spell, the enemy has to make a wisdom saving throw, and if they fail that throw, they then get disadvantage on attacks on any creatures other than you. Also, if it tries to move further than 30 feet away from you, it has to make the save again in order to do so. But also, if you attack another creature, or one of your allies attacks the creature that is under the spell, or if you end your turn more than 30 feet away from your target creature, the spell is broken. At level 5, you get Warding Bond and Zone of Truth. Warding Bond is another tanking spell that creates a magical bond between you and another creature. It doesn't necessarily have to be your ally, but it could be. That's kind of ideal. With this bond active, the target creature gains a +1 to their armor class and to saving throws that they have to make. They also gain resistance to all types of damage. But the twist is, if they do take damage, you also take damage of the same amount, kind of splitting the damage that they take. At level 9, you gain Aura of Vitality and Spirit Guardians. Aura of Vitality creates an aura with a 30-foot radius, and on your turn as a bonus action, you can heal a creature within that aura 2d6 hit points. At level 13, you gain the spells Banishment and Guardian of the Faith. Banishment is an interesting spell that has some interesting wording, so you're going to want to look it up, but essentially it means if you're in a situation where there is a creature, you can banish them to another plane of existence. The trick from this is, though, you have to maintain concentration on the spell for the next minute in order for that creature to stay in that plane of existence. The other twist is they only stay there if that is where they are originally from. So a creature from the material plane being banished won't stay in another plane of existence, they would return to the material plane. But if you have a creature who might be from the elemental plane of fire, for example, and you banish them and you're able to maintain the concentration for the minute, they will then be stuck back on the elemental plane of fire. That's kind of the gist of banishment. At level 17, you get the spells Circle of Power and Geis. One of those. That latter spell is kind of a super powerful charm. It forces a creature to follow your command for the duration of the spell. You can cast the spell, it takes 1 minute, and the creature has to make a wisdom saving throw. If they fail that wisdom saving throw, then they are charmed by you for the duration of the spell, but this charm brings a little something extra. If you give this creature some instructions while they are charmed, and they intentionally act in conflict to your directions, they will take 5d6 damage. So essentially you are forcing them to do what you tell them at the risk of hurting themselves psychically. This spell lasts for 30 days, and I know what some people think when they hear these kind of things is I will charm something and tell it to jump off a cliff, but the fact is if you tell the creature to do something that would result in its death, then the spell would end. So that's the catch-22 here. At level 3, you also gain your channel divinity abilities. You get 2 of these abilities, so make sure you read up on them. For the Oath of the Crown, you start out with Champion's Challenge. The Champion's Challenge is very similar to Compelled Duel, but with some major differences, actually. First off is you can pick any number of creatures within 30 feet of you to present this challenge to, and they all have to make the wisdom saving throw. If any of them fail, then they are then challenged by you and have to deal with the impact. Rather than imposing disadvantage on these creatures, the main thing that they cannot do intentionally is move more than 30 feet away from you. They can be knocked or pushed further than that away from you, but they can't try to move that way. It kind of keeps them in your area. If you become incapacitated or if you move more than 30 feet away from the creature, the spell ends automatically. So it's kind of one of those things. It's not so much a disadvantage in position, it is just a crowd control and movement control kind of ability. The other channel divinity is called Turn the Tide. This one is pretty powerful if you are in a tight spot with your party. As a bonus action, you can call out to any creatures within 30 feet of you that can hear you, and if that creature's hit point count is at less than 1/2 of their maximum, they can regain 1d6 plus your charisma modifier worth of hit points. At level 7, you get the ability Divine Allegiance. This is not an aura. What? This one is quite a bit different. It basically substitutes your health for an ally's or another creature's. If you see a creature take damage and they are within 5 feet of you, as a reaction you can magically substitute your health for the creature's, meaning you will take the damage and they will not. There is no reduction to the damage, no resistance, nothing like that. It's just a simple protective, let me take that hit for you kind of situation. At level 15, you gain Unyielding Spirit, which is a very straightforward ability. You get advantage on saving throws versus being paralyzed or stunned. That's it. At level 20, the capstone ability for this oath is Exalted Champion. You are empowered through your great deeds on the battlefield and gain several bonuses because of it. As an action, you can activate this Exalted Champion ability and gain these bonuses. The first one is you will gain resistance versus non-magical damage of the bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing type. This is similar to a lot of higher level creatures that you will run into in the game. You just get to have that for yourself. Also, your allies who are within 30 feet of you now gain advantage on their death saving throws. That's pretty great. But also yourself and the allies within 30 feet of you will also gain advantage on wisdom saving throws. So it's just a whole bunch of advantage being thrown around willy-nilly. This feature is usable once per long rest. Looking at this class, it's kind of interesting, I think. The first off, I did want to mention from a role-playing perspective, I think what I never see happen, and this is largely my fault because I don't do this in the games that I run, I've never really seen a paladin character start at level 1 and not know what their oath is yet. Most, and this holds true for a lot of subclasses, except for the clerics, obviously they have to pick their subclass at level 1, and I believe wizards also do. But any of the subclasses that come in at level 3, it's very rare that I see a player approach building the character and not knowing what that subclass is going to be. The Oath of the Crown leads to a really interesting storytelling perspective of an early on storytelling about that paladin where they could be trying to join a knightly order. And to join that knightly order, they have to take this Oath of the Crown, thus setting them on the path of this subclass. That could happen with any other oath, any subclass. It's probably just me. It's more likely just me, where I've never tried to tie that into the story so much. I've always just said, you build your character, and then at 3rd level they pick their subclass, and that's it, and there's nothing else to do about it. But that was a thought I had looking at this one. Maybe I'll do that on other games. I think that would be kind of important. This subclass, though, this oath, is a tanky kind of subclass, again, except it leans towards the crowd control, keeping people in your area kind of playstyle, which I think could be rather interesting and could lend to a different tactics within the party. Having the higher damage, maybe the ranged people can stay further away from the paladin, and the paladin can keep all the bad guys closer to them so they can't actually reach the higher damage dealing characters on the battlefield. That is an option. Sometimes, though, you get in these tight spots where there's not a whole lot of movement going on, even just 30 feet. It might just happen you're in a cave or something, and there's not a lot of space. Either way, I think that because this has the ability to exchange their hit points for an allies, or to split the hit points with their allies, those kind of abilities are pretty powerful for keeping everyone alive. Looking at this myself, I like the idea. I would probably go with building up spells that help improve that type of capacity and that kind of role within the party. Things also like Sentinel, that feat that lets you hit people with opportunity attacks at any moment you want practically. You'll need to go read up on the feat, but that kind of feat could play well into this Oath of the Crown. I can also see them really shining in the moments when the fight is going poorly and they step in with the Turn the Tide or something similar and can really help out their allies. Let me know what you think of the Oath of the Crown in the comments below. I've been Richard. Thanks for watching.